When you hear me, oh come, that means the Jews. That's who they is, mama. Just say the Jews. Don't call me, oh cause, mama. Just say the Jews. Just say the Jews, mama. Just say the Jews. When they say don't look class pop, that means the Jews, cause that's who they is, pop. Just say the Jews. Don't say the don't look class papa. Just say the Jews. Just say the Jews, mama. Just say the Jews. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Let's break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. When you hear a Wall Street sister, that means the Jews, cause that's who they assist. Just say the Jews. Don't talk about Wall Street, sister. Say the Jews. Just say the Jews, sister. Just say the Jews. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Let's break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. When you hear a globalist brother, that means the Jews, cause that's who they is, bro. Just say the Jews, don't mince your words, brother. Just say the Jews. Just say the Jews, brother. Just say the Jews. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Let's break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. When you hear Hollywood, honey, that means the Jews, cause that's who they is, darling. Just say the Jews. When they say Hollywood, honey, that's called the Jews. Just say the Jews, darling. Just say the Jews. Well, break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Feel so free now. Oh, dang! It's okay, mama. You can say it. Just say the Jews. Here, it's all right, Papa. It's all right, Colonel McGregor. What about you? Just say the Jews. Go on, Tucker. You can say it too. And what about you, Mr. President? I mean, you gotta say it. What are you afraid of, Mr. President? Go on, y'all. Go on, say it. Just say the Jews. Is he Michael Jones, the only man in America? Is he Michael Jones, the only real man out there? Heck, he broke the Jew taboo years and years ago. Is he the only man in America with a backbone? Is he Michael Jones, the only man in the world? Break the Jew taboo, boys. Let's break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Let's break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Just say the word, boys. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo. Break the Jew taboo.
All right, the great Duck Street Studios once again, coming to us from London, England. My name is Michael Stewart Heath, and this is MSH Live, which I started a little less than a week ago. Started up again. I started it last year and made a bunch of shows. You can see all those archives on my YouTube channel or at michaelheath.tv. So I'm back trying live streaming with a little different approach. And let's begin with a prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. If you didn't know it already, I'm much more religious than I am political. And every Mainer knows there's two things that you can't talk about in polite company without driving yourself insane inside your own head, trying to choose just the right tone and style, just the right words, just the right content for your speech so as not to offend anyone, right? Those two topics are, of course, religion and politics. And I started my career as an adult, having graduated from college with a undergraduate degree in Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy and religion. I started my career as an adult as a leader of the Christian Civic League of Maine, which is over a century old now. It was created in 1897. So I literally raised my sons and kept food on the table for my wife for those 20 years that I was raising infants to teenagers. I exist. I subsist. I fed my family by talking about religion and politics because I was paid to be the executive director of the Christian Civic League of Maine. And just think about the name for a minute, the Christian Civic. So both religion and politics sandwiched together in that name since 1897. So that was my job. They paid me to be the strategist. They paid me to be the spokesperson, and I did, to the best of my ability, the job that they were paying me to do. And my earnest effort in that regard brought about political victories that reverberated around the world. Been interviewed by everybody, not everybody, but I mean, BBC, CBS, you name it, you know, the TV stations, everything before the internet. As the internet was spinning up, I was featured, not featured, but quoted globally because of the political achievements, not of me, but of the people of the Christian Civic League of Maine during those years. Now, the history of my work there has been deleted. I've never been contacted officially by that group since I left. They've completely disowned me. And this is one of the reasons that there's many reasons, but this is one of the reasons that if I decide to continue live streaming at 6 a.m. for 30 minutes every day going forward, and I am leaning toward doing it, this is one of the reasons that I'm going to start every live stream, like I just did this one, with a song by Duck Street Studios. Because using music, they are hitting the nail on the head, and it hurts. If you're now, I've got 0 viewers right now, which is typical for this week. The most I've had is 4 viewers. So if you're coming upon this on archive on one of the 4 platforms that I'm streaming on, scroll back to the beginning, because now I'm going to talk about that song and why I'm going to start every one of my live streams with a song by Duck Street Studios. You can find all of their songs on YouTube, which shocks me really that they're there. The only reason I believe that they haven't been thrown off is because of the low view count. And the reason for the low view count is the censorship, the global censorship on, especially on the Western internet, of any content that even gets anywhere near offering any sort of a critical thought related to the Jews, or especially the Holocaust. And this is completely unreasonable, unnatural, and retarded. And we all know that. But at the same time, we Mainers are conflicted because we went to public schools, most of us, that socially engineered us not to think a negative thought about the Jews. Why? Because the Holocaust, right? So the minute the word Jew comes up, our minds connect that word Jew with the word Holocaust, and all of the Hollywood and all of the political and all of the academic propaganda that has been pushed upon us since World War II. That's what happens inside of our brains. There's this disconnect in our this conflict, this cognitive dissonance. That was the phrase I was looking for. This cognitive dissonance that short circuits our brain. Whenever we hear the word Jew, we think of the word Holocaust, and then we turn off the video. We move on to something else. Now, if I wanted to be more of a marketer doing this live stream, then I wouldn't play those songs. Then I would find a language, I would find a narrative where I could steer into the middle of Jews and Holocaust. I would steer into the middle, which I've never been good at, and I never want to be good at. I don't think that steering to the middle of controversy never necessarily helps anybody, and so I'm not going to do that. What you're going to get at this live stream, should you choose to begin to participate because you've seen the archive, unfortunately, I don't have anybody to talk to right now because there's 0 viewers and I'm going out to 4 platforms. That should be enough to tell you right now how censored the internet is. I've never shied away from producing content on the internet, ever since the internet came along. But yet here I am live streaming on 4 platforms and no one's viewing. Why is that? Is it because I'm a bad marketer? Is it because I'm a retarded marketing person on X and Facebook and YouTube? Is that why I'm not getting 0 viewers? I've been live streaming on those 3 platforms for almost a week. They are the largest streaming platforms on earth. You don't think I could get 1 viewer or 2 viewers after 4 or 5 days of live streaming? It's obvious. The Jews are throttling my reach. And everybody knows that's a thing now. Everybody. I've known it's a thing for a very long time, 20 years at least. But I haven't changed my narrative. I haven't hidden my identity. I haven't gone anon and spun up multiple accounts and whatever. I've just been me on the internet. I've been a public version of Michael Stewart Heath. Now I still have a private a private version that I don't talk about often, a family and grandchildren, all that kind of thing. I've always shied away from talking about that too much because of, I don't know, it's just, well, obviously no father wants any harm to come to their family, to their children and whatnot. And it's obvious now that Peter Thiel puts a premium on killing whole families with his Palantir, which is America's most powerful technology company that you've never heard of. Peter Thiel has fled to Argentina recently because the American people are waking up to his game, to his narrative, to his philosophy, to his religion almost, Palantir. So they target families with American drones in Gaza. They have an official program called Daddy's Home. And what it refers to is Palantir's ability to take data signals from Facebook, Instagram, X, whatever social media, your phone, all of your communications online. They can take all those data points and combine them together so that they can know where you are at all times. And they would wait until Daddy got home to his family in Gaza before they sent in the missile or the drone to blow up the Hamas terrorist. It's true. Look it up. I'm not lying. Daddy's home. So is it any wonder that I've wanted to not talk a lot about, but the other reason I haven't talked about that a lot is in America, in Maine, it used to be true that politicians would not be out front with all this more emotional content related to their families. They would be more focused on their job as a politician and on policy and on what's best for all Americans, and not they would not bring their family into their politics. That used to be the way it is. It's not so much the way it is today. It's a little different, but so some of my reluctance to talk a lot about my my children and my wife online is related to that. I got my start on the internet. Welcome to my one viewer. I hope you'll comment so I know you're out there. Let me know if my audio's good. All right, it's Timothy Bodnar. He's watching me on Facebook. Hey, you've helped me, man. I was unsure whether StreamYard would show me the Facebook comments. I knew they were showing me YouTube comments, but this is my mentor who's watching me now. My one viewer who says I need to look at him. He's insulting me at 6:15 in the morning. Man, you need to clean your garage. Okay, he says we can hear you. So I'll tell you, Tim and his wife Jennifer have become somewhat fast good friends. I mean, it's been just a year since we've known one another, a year and a half or so. And our relationship started in the most gruesome turmoil. I'll tell you, I've rarely been through anything political like what I've been through with Tim and Jen over the past year and a half. So Jen says hi. Hello to Jen. Oh, Jen's on YouTube. Yay. All right. So I got a comment from YouTube and a comment from Facebook. Now, if I can get a comment from, where am I? X. From X, I'll know that X is working through StreamYard as well. So that'll be neat. Tim's telling me, yes, I have lost weight, actually. Lost quite a bit of weight. Christianity tells us not to talk about certain things when we're doing them, so I'm not going to talk about it. But I guess if you're a Christian, you can guess what I've been doing. And so I feel so good about losing weight, about doing what I'm doing. God is so good. I got to tell you, now that Tim and Jen are on here, why I appreciate them so much. I interviewed them yesterday, by the way. It's on archive. So I've got four people viewing me now, and that's probably all because of Tim and Jen. He's probably doing his magic, shooting links, all that. He knows he's forgotten more about all this social media marketing stuff than I ever want to learn. And so I sure do appreciate the help, Tim. You're not supposed to be up at this time of day. Come on, that's what you told me yesterday. You sleep in. What's going on? But anyway, the reason I appreciate Tim and Jen so much is because they've gone into the deep end of the pool with social media. They started with X, now they're jumping in on Facebook as much as they're allowed to, because they're already getting canceled. That's typical stuff. When you tell the truth on Facebook, the women get mad and they go and click the block button or the report button or the whatever button. They say, "Oh, you've offended me. You've smoked a joint. You've said a swear word. Oh, you've been mean to somebody who I think is a wonderful person, Courtney or whatever. Yes, these are lovely people." So they go and they complain, right? They go and complain to the Facebook gods, and then you end up getting some stupid robot message, and that's what's happening to Tim on Facebook. And on X, he's been demonetized, and he grew a pretty big audience by being authentic. Started doing that after COVID, and now he's so he's demonetized and he's throttled like nobody's business on everything, and he's finding ways to work around it using tagging and real world appearances, and he's got a donor that's given him a fancy camera, and he's basically what he's doing now is he's mixing the real world in real life, a sort of production values with social media. And he's doing it according to his own faith, his deeply held Christian beliefs, and he's making a difference, man. He's blown up Augusta, which needed to happen my whole lifetime. He's blown it up almost single-handedly. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the mayor and the city council are forced to request resignations, and if a certain group that works on recovery issues is defunded and investigated, and all. It wouldn't happen. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And this is so long overdue. This is so long overdue, what Tim is doing single-handedly. He doesn't have a staff. He's not part of the MPBN cabal or whatever they call it nowadays. They shifted, they couldn't make any money, so all of mainstream media in Maine is under some nonprofit. I don't even want to remember its name. And they've got all kinds of money, right? Because that's how it's all happening now. All the money comes from the government and from foreign nations, and then it's routed through these nonprofits into these entities in Maine that have created this spider web of control over the narrative for the entire state. All the old legacy media channels are all networked together, and they're all controlled by foreign powers, and they're all and by corporate powers, and by the powers that ought not be. And that's what informs the narrative of all Maine people today, except except the courageous folk who are willing to go online and overlook the pot smoking and the swearing and the purity spiraling. They're not bringing their purity spiraling onto the internet. So they're willing to look beyond certain things, and just say, "Hey, man, is this guy telling the truth? Is he telling me the truth?" And this is why, when I was forced by Mike Hine, a guy that worked for me for 6 years, to decide between Mike Hine and Tim Bodnar, I chose Tim. Now, do I smoke pot? No. Do I swear? I have been known to do it occasionally, especially since 2020. But no, I'm not really. It's not my thing. And it's not really Tim's thing either, but back along when I first met him, he was throwing a bunch, but he was in the middle of a crazy attack too. So I looked at it all, and I just, what am I going to value here in making this judgment and in being drawn into this thing where I have to choose between this guy or that guy? Well, you know what I'm going to value? I'm going to value the truth. It's what I saw in Tim through the haze of language and smoke and occasional alcohol was the truth. And I'm still seeing it. And so he'll have my full unqualified support for as long as he's telling the truth, just like you will. That's what it's about now on Facebook. You gotta get your head out of the psyop that of friendship, right? You're only going to have six, count them, six good friends in your life. You're only going to have six friends in your life. Six, not 1,000. It's not your goal in life to get to the 5,000 cap of friends on Facebook. Now, should you go on Facebook and try to get 5,000 friends? Absolutely, because Facebook's never been anything other than your newspaper. It's the place where you put on your public face. It's the place where you tell your public truth. Don't believe the lies, the settings and the notifications. They've been storing every data point on government servers ever since Facebook was created. There's nothing private about it. There never has been anything private about it. I know this hurts your feelings. You've spent years training yourself to be perfect with the settings so that when you talk to this political group and you talk to that political group and you talk to this marketing group and you talk to this religious group and you talk to that knitting circle group, you're only speaking to that group. I know you've trained yourself to do that on Facebook. And I'm here to tell you it was all a lie. It was all a lie. And you've got to get your head, to use a Timism, out of your, right? You've got to get your head in the right place, because if you don't, the United States of America will cease to exist. That's how important this is right now, because the only thing left to us is the truth on Facebook, right? You're not going to get the truth out through the legacy media, obviously. So how are you going to get not your truth, but the truth, your public truth? How are you going to get that out? How are you going to get it out? How are you going to help save what you love for your children and your grandchildren? How are you going to do that? Just how are you going to vote? You're going to vote. After all we've been through, I'm 65 years old. After all I've been through, I still think that the vote that I cast yesterday for Tim Bodnar, by the way, I voted Tim Bodnar over Paula Page for Congress. I wrote him in, and I wrote in Mel Gibson for something else, and then I voted for John Bush for governor 10 times across the line there, because I voted for the lesser of two evils. Now, most of you are thinking, oh no, Bobby Charles, you got to vote for Bobby Charles. He's the lesser of two evils. Well, and I was going to vote for Bobby Charles as I was driving over to the polling place yesterday. But I was talking with my wife. I won't tell you who she voted for. It's, that's her business. You can ask her. But we were talking, and I got to thinking, and I realized that the lesser of two evils in this Republican primary vote is John Bush. Why? Because he's better networked. He's got more name ID for the general election. He's probably got more money to pour into that election. And the one thing that I don't want in the general election is more Democrats, is that the continuation of the blue lock on power in our legislature. So the lesser of two evils. I don't think Bobby Charles, as much as I like a lot of what he has to say, especially about religion, I don't think Bobby Charles, because in the primary he has dedicated himself to the evangelifish vibe in Maine. He's dedicated himself to it. He's wrapped himself up in it. And I don't think he can move to the middle fast. He's going to need a ton of money to move to the middle, and maybe he'll have it. I mean, he's obviously got social media chops, and maybe that's enough. Maybe he can win in November. But based on my history in politics, going back 40 years in Maine, I think what's going to happen is if Charles wins, he's going to run to the middle, which they always do, and he's going to fail to reach the middle by the fall, unless he spends an enormous amount of money. Now, he maybe he can. Who knows? But as I made my judgment yesterday, I thought, no, I think Bush probably has a bigger chance because he's running to the so he's second, right? There's 8 of them. I know a lot of you are dedicated to, the lesser lights in the Republican primary. Nothing against any of them personally, but politics is pragmatism. It's a very practical business, and so Bush was second. So I had a choice between Charles or Bush. And Bush was not he was not a distant second, a super distant second. He was a distant second, but not, he was up there. And in a 8-way primary, his percentage is impressive. So I went for John Bush. That's why. Long story. Should have made it shorter. Hey, I get an X thing. Good. So I got X. I know X, YouTube, and Facebook are working. Thank you so much, Tim and Jen, for helping me learn that. I'm here too. Jen is on Facebook. Still, so Tim says he's still sober. Your X feed is working fine. I wake up by 6 a.m. I'm just not too functional usually. I could do that. This is cool on StreamYard. I'll show you guys this so I can show the comments on stage. That's pretty cool. So then can I scroll up? And no, when I scroll up, you can't you can't see. You can't see. Let's see if I go with tall. Okay, tall. And there's wide. Okay, so we'll go with tall. That's cool. So you can see a few more of them there. So I'll leave that on. I'm going to start leaving that on. So thank you, 9 viewers. Tim and Jen Bodnar helped put me over the top, almost to 10 viewers for the first time. And so the main reason I'm doing this is because I get up really early. I'm a morning guy. I want to do it every day, and I want to have conversations. I want my enemies especially to come in here and talk with me and not argue with me. I'm not going to argue with you, but if you want to debate, I'll debate. But I mean, maybe I'll argue even too. I noticed that Tim's really good with that. But I want to have meaningful discussions online about Maine politics, people who are making a difference, issues, anything really, especially stuff I don't know about. Which is a lot of things. It's so funny. It's so funny that we think that we have to know everything. That's another consequence, a bad consequence of the internet, is we think we got to know better than a guy that we're talking to. And we got to get over that. So if you're a Muslim in Maine, come on. If you're gay in Maine, if you're a tranny in Maine, come on. Let's talk. Come on in the morning. Maybe take a night off from your partying or whatever, and get up early and come on at 6 a.m. and we'll talk. I would enjoy that, and I want to meet other Mainers who enjoy that, who enjoy talking across the backyard fence like we used to here in Maine. We're a pretty insular group. With the Yankees, we're kind of quiet and to ourselves, which I like very much. But once you're known in the community to be loyal to the community, to be loyal to your neighbors, to be friendly, Maine's the best place on earth to live. It's just great. One of the things I used to say all the time when I was lobbying against gay rights was, look, we don't have a problem with homosexuals in Maine. We don't have a problem with any of that stuff in Maine. What we have a problem with, going all the way back to the beginning, is if you're in a village and you're living upstairs on Main Street, and it's the 1600s, and you're living with a woman, and you're a woman, or a man, and you're living with a man, then you just don't talk about it, okay? You just don't make it an issue. And if you don't make it an issue in Maine, nobody's going to throw you out. Nothing's going to happen if you just keep it to yourself. Keep that stuff that should be private. Keep it to yourself. Don't talk about it. Hide it, especially if it's immoral. Especially if it reminds everybody in the village of Sodom and Gomorrah, then just keep it to yourself, man. Keep it to yourself. And then I would say, there's no proof that Maine people are running around looking to discriminate against these people. There's no evidence. They say they can't be banked. Well, Show me one. Show me a gay person that isn't banked. They say they can't get into a restaurant and eat a hamburger. Well, show me one. Tell me about one. Right? I mean, it's just, it may happen occasionally, if they make a big deal out of it and it stirs up the village, it stirs up the community, gets everybody fighting with one another, then yeah, it becomes an issue. But what's the issue? Is it what they're doing in private? No, it's what they're promoting in public. So anyway, we got common sense, man. Common sense. Awesome. Thank you all for joining me. I promise, I pledge to try to keep it to 30 minutes. And I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I really appreciate Tim and Jen taking a moment to pop in this morning. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.